KAMARU Usman fires back at Conor McGregor after the Irishman's disrespectful comments toward him. In a recent interview, the Irishman was giving an update to his return after getting injured that forced him to pull out of Michael Chandler fight when he was asked about KAMARU Usman and a possibility of a fight between them, to which he answered, saying the following: "Usman, he's a bum, a little bald nobody. I don't give a fuck about him." The former welterweight champion responded to McGregor's comments on his podcast, saying, quote, "Listen, at the end of the day, Conor is who Conor is. Conor's done some pretty fantastic things for the UFC, but Conor, so have I. You were a champion, so was I. So what I have an issue is when he says about me, you can't say that, Conor. I didn't kick him while he was down. When he had run-ins with the law, as he had back-to-back situations, but you never heard me kick the man while he was down. So there has to be a level of respect here, because at the end of the day, that's what the sport is about. The respect and the discipline that we all put in to get to the top of the sport, and that's something that he's lacking. I gave Conor 2 opportunities to fight me while I was champion. I told him, hey, if you want to crack at that 3rd belt, who better for you to come up and fight than me? And he talked a lot and said, oh yeah, maybe I will go up and take another belt and whatever, so it is what it is. Conor, if you wanted the fight, you had the opportunity, and you refused it. So to call me a bum, I think that's disrespectful. Put that whiskey bottle down and come down to your wits. Israel Adesanya slaps another disrespectful fan at a gathering. The former middleweight champion has been vocal about his disdain for overly enthusiastic and inconsiderate fan encounters, in which people act sometimes recklessly, showing no basic ethical behavior. As it is the case for any famous individual throughout all niches, UFC celebrities like Adesanya, McGregor, Jones, and more have experienced undesirable fan encounters throughout the years, and some of those stories are well known by the MMA community. Stylebender, who has talked about such interactions with fans in the past, recently shared another unpleasant interaction with a fan that resulted in him slapping the individual. Quote, "The thing is, I don't need security. For me, having them is more about the fans. Because allegedly, I might have clapped 2 people, took a warm hand to their face, because I'm a human being. And my fuse is long by I'm a human being, and some days my fuse is short. I was just walking, and there was this guy in the crowd who was excited, and then he was like, 'Let's go, champ,' and hit me in my back like a horse. And I was like, 'What the fuck?' and took a backhand straight to his face. And he looked shocked. And eventually I bought him a shot and told him not to do that again." End quote. Jon Jones is apparently back to his wild days as he begins preparations for his next fight, likely against Stipe. As you probably know, the heavyweight and former light heavyweight champion has been known for unconventional lifestyle for a fighter preparing for a fight, especially earlier in his career when each fight was preceded by heavy drinking and partying. Jones's former training partner, Rustam Khabilov, who occasionally still trains with him, recently shared some interesting moments in his last interaction with Jon. Quote, "I was already at the gym, and he bursts in and starts dancing Lezginka, which is a traditional Caucasian dance, screaming, 'I'm a Dagestani gangster.' Fucking around, he took out his weapon and started saying, 'Hey, I'm a gangster.' You know, in the United States, it's allowed to own and carry guns. He was a bit tipsy, I think. Then he invited me to a range to shoot, and I saw the trunk was full of guns, also scopes and other equipment." End quote. Michael Chandler speaks about the fallout of his McGregor fight cancellation and shares his expectations about what's going to be next for him. Chandler has been clear in his intention to wait for McGregor throughout the whole process of the 2 being matched up for a fight. Following the completion of The Ultimate Fighter, on which Michael and Conor acted as team coaches, the MMA Society was anxiously waiting for the official announcement of their fight date, and that didn't happen for a long time, raising questions about the possible problematic circumstances for the UFC to put an official date on the matchup. As we all know, in the end, the fight was announced for UFC 303, but Conor had to pull out with a foot injury, so Chandler's bad luck extended itself indefinitely, as he's still adamant on waiting for Conor instead of taking another fight with a different opponent. In a recent interview, Michael shared thoughts on the situation, saying, quote, "No matter what the public perception of UFC's relationship with Conor McGregor is, and how much power UFC and Conor have is, they still said, when he comes back, he has to fight you. So, when I hear that, I have to take them at their word. Because you gotta remember, every single guy above me and below me at the top has been booked. I could have called UFC anytime and said, I'm jumping into a 6-week training camp and I'm fighting whoever. But I've been steadfast that I want to fight Conor, and I believe that's going to happen. The fight's gonna happen, and I think it's gonna happen in short order." End quote.